What's up, everyone? My name is John Galan, and over the past 3 years, I have closed and assigned over 250 transactions, which resulted in over $46 million worth of real estate. During that time, I've made JV wholesalers over $1 million in assignment fees, and I've paid out over $1 million in agent commissions. If you're a wholesaler in Florida and you need help selling your deals, reach out to me and my team. Either DM me or JV, or reach out to deals@easyres.com. That's DEALS at EasyYRES.com. Or you could reach out to Manny on my team at 813-437-4776. We help at least 7 wholesalers every month get their deals sold in Florida. And once we assign the deal for you, we wind up handling all the title issues, any of the problem solving and objections that may arise, because we also have a full-time transaction coordinator. We do all this so you don't have to, and it's easier working with EasyRes. We're also not here for just one deal. We do multiple deals every single month and every single year with our JV partners. So if you're interested in working with us, please reach out. Are you an agent working investment deals or investment type deals, data to distress listings in Florida, and you're tired of getting blown up by all these other investors that don't know what they're doing? Let me help you close more deals and make more commissions. We'll handle the buyers, we'll solve any of the problems, and we'll keep these deals moving along so you could get paid. If you're interested in learning more, email me at john@easyres.com. That's john@easyres.com, or DM me the word agent if you want to partner with somebody that actually gets things done. If you're a real estate agent or a wholesaler in Florida and you're working these dated or distressed deals and you're tired of flaky buyers, contracts blowing up, things not happening, or wasting time chasing dead-end deals, let's fix that. For agents, we help you close more deals and make more money on your commissions by handling the buyers, solving any of the title issues that arise once we're in escrow, and keep your deals moving. We also, regardless of if you're getting paid a commission from your seller or not, we'll pay you a commission out of our assignment fee for every deal that we do together. For wholesalers, we help at least 7 wholesalers every single month sell their deals in Florida. We underwrite, provide buyer feedback, help solve any of the issues once there's that title. We take care of any of the objections and all the title chaos so you don't have to. And this also isn't a one-time thing. We do multiple deals every single month with our favorite agents and with our favorite wholesalers. And we're here to build long-term profitable relationships with everybody. So if you're interested in working with our team and actually getting things done and making more money, email john@easyres.com if you're an agent. That's john@easyres.com, or DM me the word agent, or send your deals to deals@easyres.com if you're a wholesaler, or DM me the word JV. And we'll take it from there. My acquisition reps currently average 8 direct contracts every single month, direct to agent. And from my experience, and also from my experience of training my sales team, I've boiled down the agent conversations to 7 key conversations that you need to be having in order to master the agent outreach game. So the 7 calls that basically you will always have are intro calls, discovery calls, offer calls, counters, follow-ups, renegotiations, and cancellations. Basically, any type of conversation you have with the agent is going to follow one of those buckets. You might have some scenarios, specific scenarios where it's like, walkthrough calls or post-closing calls and things like that. But majority of the calls you're going to have are going to be these 7 conversations. So for the intro calls, you have the agent outreach intro call and the MLS outreach intro call. The thing that differs is, are you doing agent outreach where you're cold calling the list of agents and trying to see if they have a pocket listing, or are you calling an agent on a specific listing of theirs? So the agent outreach is the cold calling all the agents in the area. The MLS outreach is where you're calling agents on specific listings that you find. So you find a listing first and call the agent, where on agent outreach, you find the agent first and then talk about the property. So the agent outreach call, that should typically take anywhere from 1.5 to 3 minutes, a solid agent outreach conversation. And it consists of 5 different steps, basically, or 4. 1 is opening the call. You have a quick introduction. 2 is setting the frame. Why you're calling the agent. Why are you calling the agent? Step 3 is, if they have a property, if they say they have something, it's extracting the info, which then you want to pivoting to a discovery call, which I'll talk about later. If they don't have a property, which is the 4th step, you just work on building the relationship. And then the 5th step, if they have a property, there's 5 steps. If they don't, there's only 4. So the 5th step or the 4th step, depending on if they had a property or not, is just closing the call. So that's the 5 parts of the agent outreach call. So setting the frame, quick introduction. You want that to be like anywhere from the first 10 seconds. And this is the most important part of the call, because they will either hang up on you or write you off if the first 10 seconds does not hit. So you don't want to call and just stutter on it. You want to have confidence in your voice when you're talking to the agent. Hey, Lucy, this is John. I'm new to the area and I'm looking to buy a couple of properties. I just wanted to see, I saw you were an agent. Wanted to see if you had anything that I could take a look at. Naturally, they're going to ask, like, what are you looking for? And then this is where you get to the step 2, which is why you're calling. Now, some intro calls, people are like, hey, Lucy, my name is John, and I wanted to see if you're an active agent. Like, right there, the stuttering and all that, you're going to get written off. So you want to make sure you come in with confidence and you have right energy on the phone, and you just tell them what you're looking for. And if you have any sort of personal history, add your personality to the intro. Like, hey, what's up? My name's John. I just moved from Maryland to, Fort Lauderdale, and I'm looking to buy some properties in the area. Just wanted to see if you had anything I could take a look at. Sure, John, what are you looking for exactly? Now we get to the why you're calling. Yeah, I'm just looking to buy a couple deals. I'm not looking for anything turnkey, just stuff that is either like dated or maybe distressed, like things that would need work that maybe might not fit for like, conventional home buyers, right? So like you could ask something like that, or you could say something like, yeah, I'm looking to buy a couple in the area. I don't want anything turnkey, so nothing too nice or retail. I want stuff that is either dated or distressed. Like, do you have any listings or anything coming soon that fit this criteria that I could look at right now? See what they say. If they say yes, you move on to the discovery call and you start talking about that. If they say no, no problem. The next thing you want to say is like, okay, yeah, listen, no worries. I just wanted to see, like, do you come across properties like that I'm looking for very often, or are you more like on the retail side of things? Like, you want to make sure that they're not a buyer's agent, or if they focus on retail listings, it's not going to be somebody that you're really going to be doing a bunch of deals with anyway. So you want to qualify them as much as they qualifying you. If they say that they do get a lot of listings, beautiful, say something in there. Basically, it's just letting them know like, hey, I want to be your go-to guy or go-to gal. But if they say they do come across it often, you want to build a relationship. That's somebody that you're going to want to do deals with. Find out how you can get deals for them first. If they say no, they don't come across deals very often, you can say, hey, listen, whenever you do, use me as a tool in your tool belt. You can bring it to me. I'll be able to tell you where I could be and make this a quick transaction. You could also ask them, if you don't come across them too often, do you happen to have anybody that you know of that does come across the types of properties that I'm looking for that maybe you could introduce me to, right? And you try to ask them for a referral, basically. And you could always say too, like, hey, I could always, toss a referral fee your way for any deals for when we are able to get deals closed with me and the agent you referred me to. Even if they don't get it, still see if they could try to hook you up with somebody that does. And then follow up the commitment, just say, hey, listen, appreciate it. I'll check in with you, every few weeks. Like, do you prefer text message, calls, emails? Try to see how they prefer to get followed up with. Not every agent likes to get called all the time, and they'll probably prefer text. So just verify that with them. And that brings us to step 5, closing the call. If you spoke about the deal, you tell them like, hey, I'll run numbers and get back to you ASAP. You did not speak about a deal. You basically just tell them what I just said. Hey, I'll follow up every week. Do you prefer voice, email, text, whatever. If they're hesitant about like kind of working with you, maybe you didn't do a good job of setting expectations right correctly, but you could just tell them like, hey, I totally understand. Listen, if you do get anything that is tough to move or a pretty bad situation, send it to me and, use me as a tool and tool belt. I'd love to, make this quick and easy and get you paid on it. Then tell them to save your number at the end. Hey, before we go, I'll send you like my contact information after this call, but also save my number down as John Cash Buyer or, whatever you want to say to them. Just John Investor, John, my favorite buyer. Just tell them to save your number. And that's it. Like at the end of the call, you just basically set up the frame. You told them what you're looking for. You did the introduction. You qualified them by seeing if they are somebody that gets these properties. And then you kept the follow up. So the key takeaways is to be direct and professional. If they don't have a deal, keep the door open for future potential deals. You want to make sure that you're speaking to the agent and enticing them. Maybe you tell them you'll pay commissions if they send you some deals before they hit the market, maybe not, but whatever you do, keep the relationship alive. If they're not really retail, if they're more retail agents, just tell them to keep you in mind, save your number for those one-offs. And if they can refer you to anybody that does see those deals more often, and then you want to follow consistently. If they're in your wheelhouse, follow up with them every 2 weeks or so. And if they're getting anything soon, follow up with them sooner, but follow up consistently. But the main things you want to find out is, do they have anything currently? How often they come across the properties that you're looking for? When they do, how do they usually sell them? Is it to investors? Do they just give them away to another agent? And are they focused more on the retail side of things? Qualify, see if this is going to be worth a warm follow-up or a cold follow-up. And that's the agent outreach intro call. The MLS intro call is kind of the same as a discovery call, where you're just calling the agent on the listing. Hey, Lucy, I just came across your listing on 123 Main Street. I was really interested in taking this one down, but I just had a couple of questions. Do you have them? Is now a bad time to speak about the listing? Just a quick intro about why you're calling, and then go ahead and go into it. So before I call the MLS, I like to look at the listing first. And even when I am calling on market deals, I always like to look at the listing first before I start asking the agent any questions. Why? Because the listing tells you a story. And my question that I ask on the MLS intro call is basically to just ask questions based on what the story I'm seeing. So when I look at the listing over here, I look at the status, right? Is it pending? Is it active? I look to see if there's any price cuts. If there's a price cut, I'll talk about that. Like, hey, I noticed you guys just did a $20,000 price cut, 3 weeks ago. Have you gotten a lot more offers now? You're getting a lot of activity on the deal. You know what's going on. It also tells me like that price cut, the new price doesn't make sense because it's not pending or sold yet. So it's still probably a little high. I look at the price, look to see if there's an HOA or anything. I'll ask about the HOA if there is. I'll read this because I'm not going to ask, hey, how old's the roof and the HVAC if it tells me in the description. So descriptions also tells you things about the property as well. I look at the days on market and the view count, and I'll explain why that's important later on, but there is nuances to the call depending on the days on market and the views. I'll then also go look to see, has this gone pending before? Because if it's gone pending before, and also the last time it was sold, because that also tells me something. If it's gone pending before and it fell through, I'm going to ask about that. If it just sold and 2 months later it's listed again for crazily high price, why is that happening? What did they do to the property? And that's basically what I look at on the listing side. I'll just run through those really quick to frame up some questions. I'll also look at the photos to see like if there's interior photos, if there's still furniture, I'll ask, is somebody living there? Is this tenant occupied? Will this be vacant at close? All that good stuff. So that's what I look at on the listing checkpoints. But now the call, after I open the call up with the introduction, I then set the frame. And what I want to do is I want to get the condition, which sometimes you can tell from photos, the occupancy, is it vacant, tenant occupied, the motivation, basically why is the seller selling, the price, which you could get from the soft offer, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and the time frame of sale. Does the seller need a post possession? Are they looking for a quick close? Do they need 30 days? Do they need to sell this house in order to close on the next one? So maybe they need a 5-day post possession, or maybe they need, after they go through inspection, they're going to look for a house. So there's more that goes into the timeline. So the condition, right? Besides what I could see in the photos, I want to find out about the age of the roof, the HVAC, the water heater, the major items, other foundation issues. Was there a fire damage? Was there a flood damage? All these things I want to ask about. And then if there's no photos, you can ask other questions like, hey, what can you tell me about the property that I can't see in the photos? Just different stuff. So the condition is you want to check on the condition of the property. Kind of self-explanatory. The occupancy, again, is this vacant right now? Is this owner occupied? Is it tenants in place? If there are tenants in place, when does the lease end? Is it month to month? How much are they paying? All that stuff. Motivation, again, this is where you're not going to ask, hey, what's the seller's motivation? Why are they selling? You might make false assumptions like, hey, I see that there's tenants in place. Just curious if this thing is cash flowing. Why are they just deciding to let this one go? Is there, they problem tenants, or they're just tired of being a landlord? Naturally, when you make a false assumption, people will correct you, and then they'll probably wind up telling you the exact story. Other things to look into for the motivation is that I have high days on market. Were there multiple price drops? Has it gone pending to active multiple times? There's a comment in the description that says like highly motivated, bring me an offer, investor sale, buyer sale, things like that. High days on market with a high view count. Potentially it's a stubborn seller that is just money motivated. High days on market with a low view count. This is where you could usually get the bigger deals at bigger discounts. I would still ask the agent why they think it's still listing, why it's still sitting. Got to really dig for the motivation to try to find out what is the main need of the seller so we can try to meet that. But maybe it's too rural, maybe it's in a bad area. So there's a lot of other things, but this is usually where the more motivation is when it's high days on market and low view count. Low days on market, high view count, usually very competitive, probably going to sell at or above list price. And then low days on market and low view count, it could be too early to tell depending on how low the days on market is. Just build really good rapport with the agent on this one, ask the questions, try to find the bottom line. And usually if you're not within 50K, chances are your offer is not going to get accepted unless they're highly motivated because it's a fresh listing. And like you could ask other questions to find motivation. Like, hey, do you think the seller would accept a strong cash offer if it meant avoiding another 30 plus days on the market? But you want to ask those questions. If it's fell through, why did it fall through? Find out about that. What's the main objective? Trying to get top dollar, trying to close quickly. So the next is the price. Now you want to find out the price, right? Like basically you want to find out what their bottom line is. Now they're not going to straight up and tell you what their bottom line is, but you could fish around, just find for offers. Hey, just curious. I know it's been sitting for a bit. You just had the price cut. Have you even get anything that the sellers are kind of negotiating on right now? Or no, everything's been low ball. Curious, what do you mean by low ball? Like, are they below and just come up in the range? Are they below like the 150 range? Like, no, 150 is way too low. They're all below like 180. So now I know anything below 180 is considered a low ball, right? So you just want to kind of gauge where they're at on price. The other thing you could do it is with the soft offer. Hey, where do you think ARV is at? They tell you where ARV is. You use the buy price calculator that I have, and you kind of just use a suggested to just have a good preliminary estimate. Like, okay, so 300 ARV, I'm looking at about like 50K rehab, and after factoring in closing costs, carrying costs, all that stuff, I'll probably be at like 175. Like, is that something your seller's even interested in entertaining? Like, that's a little low. They really like to be around 185. Okay, let me just do my due diligence. I'll verify the ARV first. I'll verify the resale value first, and then I'll come back with a better offer. But if the resale is around that price, chances are I'll be able to come in around the 175 range. So that's a soft offer. I didn't offer. I just said where I'd be around based on their ARV, and I just got to double check it myself. And then I'll find out usually the bottom line from that soft offer. Again, timeline, it basically got to see, like, do they need a post possession? Are they trying to close quick? Do they need an extended close? That's just a timeline to sell, how fast are they looking to close on this. And then, like I said, after I get like the COM and T, sometimes I don't even get the P because I go to the soft offer, which is usually the last thing I do is let me ask them where they think it is. If I resell this thing and I fix this up, where I would get, we try to align on ARV, then we try to align on rehab. And then I give the soft offer based on the buy price calculator and kind of see how they take that. And then I go ahead and tell them to close the call, like, hey, awesome, let me run this through my team. I'll double check and verify my numbers, and then I'll come back to you with an offer and let you know where I'm seeing, and then close the call. So key takeaways with the MLS intro call, which is basically the same as the discovery call. Always follow the comp framework, find the condition, occupancy, motivation, price, and timeline. Use the listing to kind of start building up the questions you're going to ask by following that story and then asking strategic questions based on that. Don't just sound like you're following a checklist. Make it conversational. Again, don't want to sound like a doctor reading through a checklist. Just make it conversational, actively listen, have an idea of the bullet points you want to hit, but they don't have to follow any certain motion. So just make sure that you have it conversational, add your personality to the call as well. End with a soft offer to pre-frame your number based on the agent's ARV or resale value, and then just be someone that's easy to work with, right? Like I said, add your personality to it. Just ask enough questions. If you get condition, don't keep digging on condition. If you get the motivation, don't keep digging on motivation. You want to end this call within 10 minutes or less. So you want to be strategic with how you ask questions. And when you get the COMP and T, move on. And once you get all that, end the call, do the soft offer and move on to the next. So those are the two intro calls, agent outreach intro and the MLS. Next is the discovery. So the discovery could happen when you do an agent outreach call, or you're texting an agent and they send you a deal. If they don't give you all the information you need, you'll do a discovery call, which is basically the same as the MLS intro call. But the only difference is I might get a discovery call from following up with an agent from agent outreach, or I'm texting an agent. And the discovery call could be on an on-market deal. If they send me their own listing, I'll follow the MLS intro call after the intro, or it's an off-market call, which is usually a pocket listing, where it's basically the same thing, except I can't see pictures or a listing. So there's no pre-story that is being told to me. So I could usually start off by saying, like, hey, just tell me what's the situation going on here. Do you have any pictures? But everything else basically follows the same framework as the MLS intro call. So the discovery call, it's a second part. It happens mostly from follow-ups or agent outreach, but it's the same framework as the MLS intro call, minus the quick introduction of that you're calling on their property. So next is, after I did the intro, I have the discovery. Next is the offer calls. So the offer call, there's basically two kinds: offer call with a good discovery, offer call with a bad. The good discovery is where you've done the soft offer at the end. You've gotten the resale, you've aligned on rehab and all that stuff. That's the good discovery call. Bad one is where you forget to do that. And if I'm going to do the offer call and I had a bad discovery, I'm going to start off with just verifying ARV first. Like, hey, I'm looking at this one. I'm just curious, what did you think this thing would resell at again if I was to fix this up? Like, oh, 250. Okay, got it. I'm only seeing like 225. Like, do you have comps to prove that? So I'm trying to align with the agent on the resale value first. Because if we could align on resale and rehab, then the rest of the numbers will make sense and it won't seem like a lowball offer. If I can't align on ARV, regardless of rehab, we're definitely not going to see eye to eye on the price for the most part. So I try to align with the rehab and the resale value first. And then after that, I talk to them about the renovation. Like, yeah, we're looking at this one, 1,300 square foot home. Going to redo the roof and everything. Probably going to cost me about $50,000 to $60,000 in rehab. See what they say. Oh, no, that's way too low. Oh, really? Okay. Do you have somebody I could do for cheaper? Like, do you know any GC you could connect me with? Because if not, like, this is where I'm seeing it at. And then go from there. So now from there, I'll get the numbers, and usually I'll probably frame the offer around the seller's motivation a little bit. I know you said that your seller really wants to get out of there. They need to move from the property and they need some money up front before closing so they can move stuff out of their house. So I have no problem releasing EMD before we close, as long as title comes back clear. So once we get the lien search back and it's closed, I have no problem releasing my EMD to your seller. So I could do that. However, based on the ARV of 200 and the rehab of, 35,000 that I'm seeing, plus I got some closing and carrying costs that I got to factor, and my profit, I need to be around the 125 range. Pause. After you give the number, just pause and let them respond, see what they say. They might say that it's too low. Like, oh no, that's too low. Like, I understand, but you see where I'm coming from with, like, yeah, I know, I get it. It's just not going to make sense for my seller. Okay, so well, now you know where I'm at. Where does your seller need to be for us to make a deal happen? I could meet all the other terms. The only thing that I can't really meet on them is the price. So maybe bring them my offer and have them counter, and let's see if we can make something happen. So on the offer call, I start off with aligning with the ARV. I go into the rehab and everything. I reframe my offer around the seller's motivation. Give my number, pause, let them respond, handle any of the objections that come my way, and then see if it's rejected. Like, they're not going to take that. I still push, like, hey, still bring it to your seller. They might not take it, but maybe they will allow you to lower the list price if they are getting cash offers around my same price as me. If it's too low, tell them you'll follow up. If they, hey, let me talk to my seller. When do you think you'll have an answer? So now basically, depending on how they take the offer, is how you're going to follow up after. If it's rejected, I'll stay in touch with them. If we're kind of close, I'll stay on top of it. Hopefully we get the deal accepted in the next few days. So now if it does get accepted, then I'll ask about what's access, how can I get into the property and all that stuff, and tell them to send the contract over to the title company, and I'll get EMD and when it's due. So the key takeaways for the offer call bad discovery is set the expectations on the resale value before you offer the number. Don't just go hot and heavy right away. Use the seller motivation or the motivation of the listing to pre-frame your offer. Drop your number confidently and then pause. Always ask to get a counter. If they say it's too low, just try to get a counter always, regardless of how high the counter is. Don't just take no for an answer. Have them present it so you can get a counter back and see what you could do with it, and then follow up consistently. To be honest with you, I would say like 70% of the deals will get accepted on the 5th or more follow-up. The only difference with the good discovery call offer is that instead of starting off with asking about the ARV, you go ahead and say, hey, so I know you told me on the call you see ARV at 350. You're either agreeing with it or you're disagreeing with it. Hey, I'm not seeing that, or hey, I agree, so our offer number is still the same, or hey, I wasn't seeing that. I use comps 1, 2, and 3, and based on those, I'm only seeing an ARV of 300,000. You see what I'm saying? The 350, do you have anything specific that I could look at? Because if I could come up on ARV, maybe I come up with my offer. But based on what I'm seeing and the rehab of $50,000, I'm going to be a little bit different than the offer I gave you originally. So does that make sense? Like, I want them to agree with me, and I want us to align first. And then again, reconfirm the motivation around there. So I know you said the seller was looking for a quick close. Like, is that still the case? Your seller still needs to close quick? Yes. Okay, perfect. Well, listen, I can, but based on what I was seeing, I need to be at 100, not 150, because there was a $50,000 discrepancy in resale value. It almost dollar for dollar reduced my offer number. Oh, that's way too low. Then I'm going to accept it. Boom. Then we go next thing. After I drop the offer, I pause, handle any objections, and then see what happens. And then follow up. Again, most of your offers will get accepted on the follow-ups. So the follow-ups are going to be really important, but you want to offer with confidence so you do have offers to follow up with and eventually get accepted later down the road. So now for counters, once you get hit with a counter, I don't always try to go right to price. They're going to probably tell you like, yeah, you offered 200, they counter at 275. So first, I just want to see where's the max I could come up with. And I'm going to first try to counter terms first. Like, did I offer 7-day IP and a $2,000 EMD? Maybe I increased my EMD. Maybe I shortened my inspection period. I didn't maybe offer to pay closing costs yet, so maybe I offer that. Maybe I offer to pay an agent a 2% commission. Who knows? But before I come up on price, I'm going to try to counter terms first. But you can also try to confirm the seller's flexibility. Okay, appreciate the counter. Just curious, how flexible is your seller? Like, are they kind of stuck at this number, or are they willing to play the game right now? Besides price, what else is important to them? Would they be open to adjusting this offer to make this work if I can meet them on some other terms, right? So I'm not going to jump up to MAO now. I'm going to maybe come up 5K or so, or I'll come up with the terms, leave the price the same, see what they say. Maybe they counter back a little bit. So I'm playing the game. Now we're negotiating. But some of the common other terms to negotiate is shortening closing a little bit, not too much, because you're not sure if you can do that. Shorten the inspection period, maybe from 7 I go to 5 or even 3 business days. Increasing the EMD, maybe I go to 2 to 3 to 5 to 10. I don't know. But anything else besides increasing the price first. And then like one thing you could say too, if you guys are pretty close, like, hey, listen, like, I don't want to keep going back and forth. If I could get approval or if I could meet them at this price, would we get a contract going today? Right? Set the expectation. Try to get that final lock in after going back and forth. Once you get the green light from them, go ahead and make sure that number works. Another thing too is like, hey, seller review, we'll see. Like, hey, no problem. When I'll have an answer by, because there's a couple other deals I'm interested in, and I kind of want to pull the trigger on one by the end of today or tomorrow, the latest. Create some urgency. Look, quick tips on the counter. Never counter. If your max price is 250 all in, never counter over 5K. Above that, I'd probably say max at 245. Because I still want to have some spread to where I can make money. I don't want to be all in at 250 and then have to market the deal at 250 and then have to worry or have the bank on a renegotiation to guarantee me some sort of profit. So never go more than 5K, I would say, above the max sell price, or try to say 5K below as max. So like if max is 250, I try to want to have my highest counter at 245 all in. Never go right to MAO. If it's a hot deal, chances are you're going to be close to MAO anyway, but usually you want to counter terms first and then try to come up on price. And if you can't work out a deal on the counter, that's fine. Then just stay on top of the follow-up, right? Create some urgency. Usually give them a 24-hour, 48-hour notice of like, hey, I'm interested in something else. If I don't hear back, I'm going to move forward with the next deal. Create some sort of urgency. But again, also, if it doesn't work out, follow up every 2 weeks, or depending on how close you were, which I'll talk about in the follow-ups, hot follow-ups, warm and cold follow-ups. So follow-ups, after you talk to the agent, whether it's on a property or not, you're going to stay with the agent. If it's a warm lead, this agent seems like somebody solid, you're most likely going to call them every 2 weeks until they know you, and then you can start texting them. If it's more of a colder outreach, you're like, oh, this agent might not be somebody that I'm going to do a lot of volume with. I'll text them every 2 weeks or so. We'll send them a personalized message. And if it's a hot follow-up, like this has potential VIP, maybe I'll call them weekly if they're always getting deals, and we'll stay in touch, be texting back and forth. So maybe it might not even be as much of a follow-up as we're also already just texting back and forth. So the general follow-ups, usually it's going to be generally every 2 weeks. Depending if they're warm or hot, I might follow up sooner. If they're colder, maybe it's every month. So just depends on that. The follow-ups mostly are handled through automations, but based on the conversation you have, you'll decide if I'm going to call them or text them for the next one. Now, the important ones, the ones that you're going to always be following up on, the offer follow-ups. So you have hot offer follow-ups, which are usually within 30K of the seller's asking price, and the agent aligns with you on everything you're saying. That's a hot follow-up. A warm follow-up is you're probably over 30K, over the 30K threshold, but the agent still agrees with you. So that's a warm offer. Seller, not really seeing eye to eye with the seller, but the agent you are, that's a warm offer follow-up. And then a cold offer follow-up is where the agent and the seller don't align with you on anything. It's cold. So hot offers, it's going to be basically daily or weekly calls. Warm offer follow-ups, it's mostly going to be bi-weekly calls. And then cold follow-ups, it's going to be bi-weekly texts. And you can go something like, hey, I'm just checking in on my offer on 123 Main Street. How's the seller? Is the seller any more flexible? Like my offer was 120. Is there anything we could do on this one? You just want to check in, right? Hot offers, you're going to be calling. Warm, you're going to be calling. And then cold is just going to be text message follow-up. The other things to keep in mind, as you constantly follow up with the agent, like you're just checking in, hey, anything changed? We're still here. Has the seller changed their mind? Hey, I just want to let you know my offer is still good, but the market is changing and I don't want my offer to come lower, but if it's going to take another 30 days or so, I might have to rerun my numbers. So again, you're just going to do the follow-ups depending if it's hot, warm, or cold. But the other things to keep in mind is your offers will go stale. If you let them go for over 60 days, chances are you might have to recomp it again, because now you might either be too close to list or too high because the market has shifted, or you might be too low because the market shifted. So I would generally recommend every 60 days or so, recomp your numbers and get a new offer to give to the agent, and you give that during the follow-up. Hey, I looked at the market again. Right now, I was at 160 before, but the market shifted. So right now I'm at 140. I know they weren't ready for the 160 number, but are you seeing the shift in the market? You think they'll be ready for that new number? Because it's just going to go down from here unless the market picks up. And if the property sells and you're not the one that buys it, congratulate the agent and just say, hey, listen, like, keep me in mind. Like I'm looking for most of those deals. And as you see, I'm always following up. So I'm hungry for more deals. So just to recap, hot offers, follow up daily or weekly with a call. If it's a VIP agent, you might be able to text them, but usually call. Warm offers, you follow up bi-weekly with a call. Cold offers, you follow up bi-weekly with a text. Always want to start creating urgency when you're resubmitting these offers as well. Hey, again, I'm looking at this other one. I know I've been offering on this and following up, but I've already acquired a couple more properties since then. I'm going to be probably looking to acquire only 2 more before the month ends. And if this, I would love this to be one of them. But if not, please let me know by tomorrow. But just note, the offer follow-ups is where most of your contracts are going to be coming from. So this is one of the most important calls you have to get really good at, or the most important conversations you have to get really good at. So just stay on top of them, follow up, and follow up. Now, if the property went pending, let's just say, and you call them like, hey, we just accepted an offer. Okay, just curious, how much inspection period days does this person know? How many inspection period days do they have? I want to know that, because if they have 7 and they're like, yeah, well, if it wasn't for this offer, you think I'd move forward with mine? They might have. All right, well, listen, like they have 7 days. I'll check in on day 7. If this person isn't going to close, then at least you have my backup offer and I'll resubmit it on that. Does that sound good? I want to be the first person to talk to the agent when that other offer cancels. So when it is pending, find out how many IP days they have and then follow up on the last day. Call before and then call at the end. Hey, I know the day is over. Did they want them moving forward or not? So now renegotiations, usually what we do is, and if you're working with us, we'll help you with this. We'll just get all of the feedback from the buyers that walk the property, consolidate it into one clean bullet point information. And when we call the agent, we'll just let them know over rehab or the layout issues, or just basically like, hey, we only anticipated 50K and it's actually going to be, 70K. Or if anything else that came up on the property, like now we found out there's foundation issues. So whatever we get, the findings we get from our buyers, we just use that and strategically leverage that to work a renegotiation. Now we don't renegotiate every single deal, but the ones we do, we use buyer feedback. Very rarely do we just make something up. We always get buyer feedback from people that walk, and we leverage that in our renegotiations. And if you work with me and my team in Florida, we help you that. We give you that. When we assign the deal for you, I then send a detailed bullet point list of things to use, and we get on the phone and we could role play if you need help with that. Now, the next thing is cancellations. So cancellations kind of go hand in hand with retrades. Unless you get 0 feedback, if you cancel, you just tell them straight up, like, hey, it's not going to work out. I tried looking at X, Y, and Z. It's just not penciling out for us. I got overbidded. I even tried to wholesale this to a couple of people. They were all coming in around like this range, and unfortunately, it's just not going to work. I don't want to waste any more time, so I'm going to have to cancel the contract. Don't feel guilty about canceling it. If it does cancel, it cancels. But however, most of the cancellations happen with us is when a renegotiation gets declined and we don't have a buyer above contract price. So if we retrade and it gets declined, then we just cancel the contract. So the cancellation is a little bit easier because it's basically having 2 conversations at once. I renegotiate. If it works, beautiful, we sign it and we move forward. If it doesn't, then it's a cancellation. Easy one right there. But with the renegotiation, even if I have a buyer locked in above contract or it's free, if it doesn't get approved, I still move forward with the deal anyway. As long as I'm at or above contract price, I'm still going to move forward with the deal. The other thing with renegotiations is if they say, oh, we have higher offers, like, oh, just curious, like, did they walk yet? You want to try to disqualify. Did they walk it? How many inspection period days do they have? Do you know, are these investors or are these conventional? Well, I'll tell you what, like if they're higher, there's a good chance that they're going to want to walk on the property just like I did and then come in lower. I started off higher and now here I am. You know me, I'm a short thing. I'll inspection period today because we know we can move forward at this number. Like, are you confident in those other buyers? Are you 100% confident those other ones will stay at that price? Or maybe they come down lower than me. So what I'm trying to do here is disqualify those higher offers when I renegotiate. Like I said, the next is the cancellation, and it either is going to go hand in hand with the renegotiation if it's declined, or you just tell the agent, you just can't make it happen and you got to cancel the contract. Make sure you cancel though during your inspection period so you don't lose any earnest money. So the 3 most fundamental calls you're going to have, the ones that matter, I would say the most because they set up everything else, is your intro call, making the strong impression of building rapport with the agent, the discovery calls, gathering the critical property information. A good discovery call sets up a strong offer call, which is the 3rd one, the offer call, presenting your offer effectively and handling objections. You could do that with confidence. Your follow-ups are going to be even better, and they are going to accept any offer around that range. If you offered with confidence and did it well, they have more chance of accepting your offer than somebody else around your range because they feel confident that you're going to get it done. So get really good at these calls, working them step by step. Like, hey, how's my intro call? How's my discovery? How's my offer? How's my countering? How's my follow-ups and offer follow-ups? How's my renegotiations? How are my cancellations? Role play these with yourself, role play these with people on your team. Get really good at these 7 calls, especially those first 3, and you'll see your contract amount increase every single month. Maybe not every month, but at least it'll increase more than what you're doing now. So focus on these and just watch your deal flow grow.